Everyone, okay, so today's tutorial is on how to achieve a realistic looking tan. So the first thing that we're going to do is, if you have dry skin, then make sure you use a primer or a moisturizer first. I've got very oily skin, so I'm going to use bare skin. The first thing we're going to do is apply a little bit of foundation first, and I'm using a MAC Pro, which is MAQ Pro foundation, and I'm using a Ray Morris Radiance brush to apply this all over my face. And this is just to even out any sort of skin irregularities that we might have, cover any redness and anything else. So just apply this all over the face and make sure that you've covered very lightly your skin. Next, I'm going to take a very sort of pink, almost slightly red blush and apply it very lightly on the cheekbones, on the tip of the nose, well actually the bridge of the nose, and a little bit on the temples. Taking that same brush, I'm just going to blend this in because real tans do have a little bit of burn to them. So this will help to make the tan look more realistic. If you're a lady of color, then what you want to do is use a blush that has orange undertone to it. So you could powder your skin and say use something like NARS Taj Mahal, which would look excellent. Okay, so with that done, take a tissue, pull it in half, and then press it to the skin to absorb any of the excess even moisture from the foundation. This leaves the pigment behind but takes away all that moisture, which also means that your foundation is going to last a lot longer. Taking a powder brush, lightly tap powder all over your face. Now this is great if you don't have much redness to cover on the face, but if you have redness that you've covered with foundation, then make sure you use a Vela puff in a sort of tapping and pressing and rolling motion, because this won't disrupt the foundation, therefore the redness will stay concealed. Okay, next we're going to take a bronzer, and this is a Claudia Raz powder brush, and it was really expensive, and all it did during this entire tutorial was shed, so I'm not best pleased. Use a bronzer and apply it always from the neck up. Work from the neck up, that way you can kind of gauge how far you want to go. And any areas that are exposed obviously are going to need to be covered. Buff this bronzer onto the upper part of the face, and remember, if you're very fair, then something like Bobbi Brown Golden Light is going to be a great bronzer for you. I'm using Bare Essentials Faux Tan. So you want to just buff it in. You can see that the skin is becoming more and more tanned as we go along. And because the Bare Essentials one has a slight red undertone, it does mimic that kind of real tan. And because we used the blush before, those areas stay slightly, they just slightly more, have a little bit more red in them, which makes it look very realistic. Make sure you do your ears and behind your ears, very important. Next, I'm going to take a blush. This one is by Kevin O'Quart, and I'm going to just put a tiny bit of this really bright blush onto the cheekbones, the bridge of the nose, and the temples again. And then I'm just going to take that same brush that did nothing but shed, and I'm going to apply, kind of blend it all in with that brush. I've not applied any other powder on top of this. So just buff it in so that all of those colors kind of mesh into one. There we go. Okay. Taking a little bit of loose powder, lightly tap that into the center part of the face, just so this area remains a tiny bit highlighted. And that is really how you go about creating a natural looking tan. So here's a before, and here's an after. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.